Ladies and gentlemen, welcome along to another round of your DCD season, and we are here tonight for a race. Well, of course we're here for a race. We're here for a race around the Spanish Grand Prix. The regular testing area of a lot of the Formula One teams, and used to be the testing grounds for the Formula One paddock in itself. But now it is... It's fading out of Formula One contention. Now it's dropping. It's presumably dropping out of Formula One in 2026. And, well, it's 26 or 28 where it's being replaced by Madrid. It's something along those lines. But we won't get to enjoy this circuit too much longer. So let's enjoy it while we can. And, well, we're here for DCD Racing League for round number 3 of the season. And we've got some times in already. Both Mercedes on the front row. Chuck Norris going into 3rd place, 4 tenths back with a 1 minute 13.5. The 13s appear to be the time that you want to set at the moment. But if you're those drivers at the top, you're slightly scared of ARL, who's managed to set that 113.6 on a set of the medium compound tyres. So showing his prowess already in this race. Or in this qualifying session at the very least. But it's very interesting. Bramble going, well, 1.1 seconds faster than MCH. And that is the beginning of those lap times coming down. That's the first proper soft run challenges for pole. And, well, solid lap time to put in as your banker lap. We've got Davey Norris now coming around the final couple of corners. The Dirty Boy coming round and up to the line with a 1 minute 13.4, and he's running away from those hackers that got him earlier on in the week. I think that's fair to be said. ARL could potentially be going for another lap on a set of the medium compound tyres, and he's going to come across the first sector split time. Is it an improvement? Not quite. He's 0.05 of a second down, which is half a tenth. He's going to try and find that in the second sector. Clearly, he thinks there's time on the board with those medium tyres on. And, well, I will reference Davey Norris being hacked about 10 times tonight at the very least. And that was a bit of a weak reference to start off with, I will say. ARL is going to come now into the second DRS zone on this lap. The second full DRS zone, at least. It's arguably the third one, and he comes up to the end of it, improving by 0.4 of a second. So he was right. There is time in this lap, and he will now, hopefully, in his mind at least, challenge for P2 and challenge for the front row of the field. MCH going out there with a 113.0, and ARL coming around the final couple of corners. Bear in mind he's on a medium set of tyres. He's going to come around the final one and come up to the line. He was improving by half a second, and he's gone up into 4th place. Only 1.2 tenths off of the front row, and only 1.205 seconds off of P1. So not a bad lap time there. Chuck Norris looking to try and challenge ARL. He's improved by 0.2 in the first 2 sectors. And DRS open as he heads out of the final one. He's up to the line. And he goes up into 3rd, improving. And going ahead of Luke Racer by 0.004 seconds. So, well, pretty impressive stuff, all things considered. No line isn't as hard as I remember, says Bramble. Well, do you do ABS and or traction? Do you fancy rejoining SKG? It's worth a try at least. And we're with an 11.9. It's not a bad lap time to begin the qualifying session. Bryce, his teammate, is going to come up to the second sector split time of the 52.1. And now he's only got a couple more corners to go to try and challenge Bramble. He is on a set off the soft, so he is going to try to seriously challenge Bramble, whereas even ARL was on a set of the mediums. So pretty solid lap time for him to set. Bry's up to the line, a 114.0, so lost a little bit of time in that final sector and is in P number 7. Killer Zombie heading through the first sector, improved by over 1/4 of a second. So there's time to find in the lap from him, and he's going to now try to come up to the line with even more of an improvement. He's not up in that second sector, though, as clearly there was a little mistake in that one that's lost him about a quarter of a second, and now he's got one more sector to go. Only one more braking zone, I would argue, as this one is essentially just lifting off, heading through this corner, and then down to the final one. Killer Zombie does actually pull out of the lap. He won't be improving. Trying to sort out audio, by the way. I want to be able to hear the cars. And I sort of can, but not as well enough as I would like to. I'm going to wait to be able to hear them in the pits. See how loud the onboard is. It's not too bad. I'm going to turn it up a little bit more. Briar's not improving. Loop Racer. Purple second sector for the Mercedes, and he could be challenging Bramble for that P1. However, the purple sectors can often be misleading, and Loop Racer now heads out of the final couple of corners. Heads out of the final one. Where is the Mercedes going to put himself? Is it going to be ahead of his teammates, MCH, on the front row? Is it going to be ahead of Bramble? It's going to be ahead of Loop. It's going to be ahead of MCH. At the very least, and MCH improving by a quarter of a second. He's now going to try and beat his teammates out already. It's a battle for P2 essentially in this qualifying session, where Bramble has already essentially taken that pole position. Now MCH heading around the final couple of corners is going to try to beat Loop Racer. He was up by a quarter of a second. Around the final corner he goes, putting the pedal to the metal as Bramble goes even faster, 111.9, and MCH a second off of that, a 112.8. And not a bad lap time from him, as Bramble improved that lap time ever so slightly and just seals that pole position even more. By the way, give me feedback on the audio. I feel like it sounds fine because I turned down the input but forgot to turn up everything else. So, because I can't change everything in TikTok Studio. And I considered streaming this one in TikTok Studio. On TikTok, actually. Potential. Maybe. I don't know. Let me know. Should I, in between the quali and the race, set up a webcam to fill up the rest of the screen and do DCD on TikTok? Let me know. Terry Tibbs heading through the second sector, essentially trying to improve on his lap. And, the McLaren now running a little bit wide, and that is the end of Terry Tibbs' push lap. Not an improvement then, although he was 5/10 quicker. So sort of a shame really that he's invalidated, because then he'll not be improving on his time. ARL is on a set of the softs, and he's now going to try and improve on a 13.2. He's improving by 0.2 in the first sector. Pretty solid stuff from the V carb. He now heads through the second sector. Big luck up on the inside left, and just coming now back out of the corner where he locked up. Heading up the hill. A lock up again. So quite a few lockups just coming into ARL's lap. However, he was quick on the medium, so now he's going to try and be quick on a set of the soft compound tyres. DRS will be open. He's heading down the straight, and he's improving by 0.6 of a second. So he will be on track for a 112.6, which would put him in P2. But he wants to find that 0.7 in the final sector, but a little bit of a wobble on the exit. I think that ARL will do no such thing, and he'll come around the final couple of corners. He will go into the pits, and he won't be improving on that lap time. Disappointing for him then, but it is what it is. And he knows that he has the pace to keep up with the pole position lap time if he so desires. And well, for now, he's just going to have to sit behind Killer Zombie, improving in the first sector by quite a margin on the slowest lap time of all. He's about 0.4 off of Briars in P7, and he's improving by 0.6. So this would be a lap time good enough for 7th, but if he can find another couple of tenths, he'll be up there with Davey Norris in P6. If he can find another couple as well, he can be up there with ARL and Chuck Norris challenging for that second row of the grid. Killer Zombie around the final corner. DRS open for the V-carb, and he's up to the line with a 113.6, which is indeed 7th place. So didn't find as much as he would have wanted to in that final sector, and he now finds his way into 7th place. Terry Tibbs will head up to the first sector split time, and we'll see if this is a serious lap time or not. It is. He's improving the 0.02 of a second for the McLaren, and well, it's not much of an improvement at the moment, but progress is progress, and he will be feeling that progress and how much more the circuit has rubbed in now as he heads out up the hill. Does the McLaren, And where is he going to end up going in this qualifying session? He's going to come across the DRS split and open it up now. And now come down to the second sector split time. Where can Terry Tibbs go? It's going to be an improvement by 0.45 of a second. Almost 4.6. It's 4.59. So I'm going to argue that rounds up to 4.6. And, well, that would be enough to make him challenge at least for P6 if he makes a minor mistake in this final sector. However, if he gets it right, he could be challenging for 4th and 5th. However, I said that about Killer Zombie. And he didn't find any improvements in that final sector. Terry Tibbs up to the line. He goes into 7th. And he's only just ahead of Killer Zombie, so that rings true. Chuck Norris has just begun his lap. As well, he's in the 13.1. He'll want to get into at least the 12s. Bramble, of course, sitting in the 11s. The only driver to do so at the moment. Chuck Norris comes across the first sector split time. Not an improvement. He's 0.08 down. And now he's going to try to find that time in the second sector. We saw Chuck Norris, I believe, lose a little bit more time in that third sector. But the Williams now heading out. And will head up the hill as well. Where is he going to end up in this session? We will have to wait and see. And, well, he won't be improving on his lap, that's for sure. He's the only one on a push lap, though. And he's no longer pushing on his lap. Briars will come across the line. His best lap at the moment is a 1:14. The only driver still sitting on the 1:14s, and he's going to want to improve as he heads through the first sector. Huge usage of the curbing just to get the turn in and the turn out on the exit, and then sliding his way into the second sector, trying to just make sure that he keeps that rear stable. And Bryce just warming up the tyres a little bit, so I don't think this is going to be a push lap. He doesn't feel as though he's set enough of a good lap time to improve. And with 2 minutes 32 in the session, he's now going to set himself up for that final run, and hopefully he can improve on that lap time. We've got more drivers now coming up to the line. Chuck Norris is going to have another go. We'll see where he goes as he heads up to the first sector. He wasn't improving. He was at a 16 in the first sector, or on that last lap. He's now improving by 0.033 of a second, and not too bad. Not too bad in the first sector from him, but he's going to want to find more time if he wants to catch up to the drivers in the 12s. Chuck Norris heading up the hill. He will go past the detection zone automatically. Has got said detection, and well, opening up the DRS on the exit, he'll come up to the second sector split time with an improvement of 0.180 seconds. Not too bad then from Chuck Norris, but that is going to cost his lap once again. Another mistake creeping into the Williams' driving, and he won't improve on his 13.1 as he's being pushed very, very hard in this qualifying session to try and break into the 12s. ARL now in P5. He's going to try and improve on the 113.2 that he set on mediums at the start of this race, or at the start of this qualifying session at least, and he's improving by 0.3 of a second. Can the V-Carb hold his lap together where the last three that we've watched have not? It could be the commentator's curse coming into play, but we'll see as ARL heads up the hill now. Trying not to lose it here. That's where we saw Chuck Norris lose it a couple of laps ago, but ARL making it through nice and cleanly. Now he will open up DRS for the third time on this lap, and will come up to the second sector split time with a lap time 6.5 tenths quicker. This will challenge for P2. If he can find any more time, he's challenging for P1. There's yellow flags as that's a Mercedes going slowly in the final sector, but ARL will be unaffected, and he's going to come out of that final corner. Where is he going to go in relation to the rest of the field? I'm saying P2. It's going to be P2. I know my stuff. 5 tenths ahead of Luke Racer. Still 2.5 off of Bramble, but that is ARL's final push lap in this qualifying session. Bramble felt threatened, so he's going for another one, and we'll see where the Aston Martin ends up qualifying. He's got that slipstream off the Mercedes ahead as the checkered flag is waved, and Chuck Norris, Terry Tibbs, Killer Zombie and Bryce will not improve on their times, and that's a slide from the Mercedes, and contact between him and the Aston Martin means that is Bramble's session done, as well as the Mercedes. A slightly wide moment from, I believe that is ARL, not improving on his time. And then the final lap time to be finished potentially. Maybe MCH is continuing, but up to the line comes Davey Norris. And it's a 112.8 going just ahead of MCH. Yeah, and MCH is not going to improve on that lap time. So Bramble takes that pole position away. It's P2 for ARL, P3 to Luke Racer. and then Davey Norris, MCH, and Chuck Norris in 4th, 5th, and 6th. And then it's Terry Tibbs, Killer Zombie, and then Briars rounding out the field. But Bramble there, setting a lap time right at the start of the session that nobody was able to match, and he'll be hoping to continue that momentum into race day. Trying to get the driver's general opinions on that qualifying session as it comes to an end. MCH slams into the wall, slides quite a chunk, to be fair to him. But, I mean, fair enough, he was able to do it. I haven't got my music software. I might be able to find my music software, and then I'll be able to get the music to you. But the top 5 qualifying within a second of Bramble at the top. Not too bad. Car didn't grip that middle sector for Briars. It didn't look as though it was gripping up very well, and Bramble not understanding how that was pole. Well, you're going to have to find out in race day, aren't you? Whether you've got more pace than everybody else. What am I looking for? I know what I'm looking for. I know. It's going to be in here. "13 links. No thanks. I can't find it. I'll sort it out after the race, but yeah. No thoughts from the drivers. Only one is typing, and that's Mr. Davey Norris. The only thoughts that we've got is Briars saying that the cars didn't grip up in the middle sector, which is right. And Bramble saying he doesn't know how that was pole position. I will go to an intermission screen as we will be getting going for the race in approximately 5 minutes' time. Don't go away. haven't been able to find any suitable music. Thingy, what's his name? Bosnov is the goat. I can't tab back in. I can tell you why I'm not tabbing back in. That's embarrassing. I'm not going to tell you, but I can't tell you. No, sorry, but I can. Anyway, we're going to go to the 5 red lights here in Spain. And the action's underway. That is not a good start from Davy Norris, who drops all the way down to the rear of the field. He looks as though he might have stalled it or something along those lines. Interesting. But into the first corner, Luke Race is going to go down the inside. Can he make that move stick? Not quite. And he's going to try and hang it around the outside. He can't quite do that either. And he's going to be forced to sit in behind Terry Tibbs, trying to attack Killer Zombie. Trying to see who's got that damage from contact with Davy Norris at the start. But it's side by side once again for the lead. Luke Racer down the inside. Bramble trying to go the long way around. And can he hold on to the move? Luke Racer might have to send it late around the outside once again. It's soft versus mediums. And it's interestingly enough, mediums on lap 1 that come out on top. Bramble takes the lead once again. And he's holding on onto it. Apologies for that one there. As we head through. Davy Norris parked up in the first sector. And he's now got to build his way back up from, well, an untenable position in the field. So we will have to wait and see whether he's able to make it back in. But Luke Racer, unable to attack Bramble on the first lap. He's going to try and do it once again as they will get that DRS down the main straight. But as it stands, they're not making those moves. They're not making those moves. Davy Norris retires from the session. And we've got a virtual safety car on lap 2 of this race. Bramble and Luke Racer were side by side. But Luke Racer having to eventually give up the position to Bramble. But I'm glad that he's been able to fight him at the very least. And that should demonstrate some good action for this evening. But we're losing one of our drivers on lap number 1 of this race. It is Davy Norris, and Chuck Norris actually retires in the pits as well. So I'm not sure why. We've had 2 retirements on the first lap of this race. But now that means we're down to just the 7 drivers left in this Grand Prix. And we're only on lap 2. We've got 31 laps to go. So a long way to go for 7 drivers just to fight each other. But we will have to see as the race gets unneutralized very soon. Terry Tibbs is out of the DRS of MCH. But Killer Zombie is almost in the DRS as well of Terry Tibbs. So that should be a good fight. Just waiting for the incident to be cleared. And then we can get underway once again. And then we can get our racing action going again. DRS is enabled and Terry Tibbs has got a drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car. Not what he would have wanted as the green flag is waved and we're back to racing once again. MCH getting past ARL, who's had a poor safety car restart, and he drops down to P5. He's got Killer Zombie right on his rear as Terry Tibbs dives in to serve that drive-through penalty, and he will drop to the very rear of the field, potentially even retiring himself from the race as Luke Racer gets into the lead of this one. And, well, the fact that ARL had such a poor restart means that Luke Racer and Bramble have been able to break away. ARL trying to hold the outside on MCH. It switches to the inside, and that means that he's able to seal the position as they head through the first sector. And ARL holds on to P3. MCH trying to shape up a move past, but can't quite do it. And he's going to have to sit in behind as it stands. Looking to the outside, just tucking back in once again. But MCH looking racy early on in this one. And he could potentially get past very, very soon. But they're 5.4 seconds off of Luke Racer and Bramble at the top. And a swap could be happening once again with Bramble right up close to the rear of Luke Racer. But not quite making that move. Bramble won't be as fast as, well, as fast on the same every lap. But it's a shame for him. I don't know what I'm talking about. He's going to have to wait behind. Sorry, just reading Nike's message. As Bramble pulls to the inside line at turn number 1. Making that move stick on Luke Racer. And holds onto the lead once again. Luke Racer potentially trying to fight back, but not quite close enough. And ARL warding off MCH and Killer Zombie one more time. To put it nicely, Nike said the wheel didn't work. And on that note, he's not racing again. So good luck as round goes Bramble. And well, he's sacrificed the lead and almost takes out 2 drivers in the process of getting back going again, but drops all the way down to P6. And well, that was an interesting move there. Down the inside, back past Briars and into P5. But very, very hairy moment for Bramble there. Just losing the rear. As well, that's what having no line does to you. You just brake too late into the corner, and then you're trying to resurrect yourself throughout the entire corner, but it hasn't quite worked for Bramble, and he's now down to P5 with a lot of work to do. Anyway, back to the message, and it says, on that note, he's not racing again, so good luck with this not very good game. People who cheat, and inconsiderate people who don't do check-in. So, of course, we only have 9 races, despite the fact we have 16 drivers. So, it is what it is. At this point in the race, and we have 7 drivers remaining in this one, and we could have a switch for P number 2 as MCH holding it around the outside, but ARL just holding on to it into P number 2 and just clinging onto it for now as MCH tries to fight Killer Zombie 2 seconds back with Bramble on his rear and ready to get past him. Killer Zombie actually just lets Bramble through. He knows it's not his fight, and wow, that's exactly what he's done as David Norris finally leaves the session and the host is migrated once again. Can cause desync issues. Didn't appear to when the last person joined, or the last host left. I believe it was Chuck Norris who actually hosted the lobby originally. But regardless of whatever it was, we've had migrating hosts twice, and David Norris has now left. People are losing DRS now. MCH 9 tenths behind ARL and Briars 5 tenths behind Killer Zombie. And can't quite make those inroads as much as he would like. Luke Racer leading this one by quite a chunk now, and Bramble trying to catch up to that pack, or I say pack, to those 2 drivers sitting in P2 as it stands. Whether he's able to do so, I'm not sure. He definitely has the pace to do so, but not quite yet been able to build his way in, as just the inconsistencies that he has because of the fact that he doesn't run line is costing him as it stands. Terry Tibbs comes into the pits and switches, presumably off of the set of a softs, off of the set of the mediums. The only driver who's actually gone onto the softs is Luke Racer in this one, and everybody else on mediums now switch to the hards for Terry Tibbs. And it's, well, it's very interesting, these drivers at the moment. A strategy switch for Terry Tibbs is hello, Callum. Nice spelling. But yes, Luke Racer has... Well, he's not necessarily checked out of it yet because he's got to build up that gap because those softs will fall off in the next few laps. But I think what he's going to do now is he's just going to try and build up that gap and then just... Then he's going to try and conserve those tyres. I think that's what I'd do at least. But what do I know? I don't know if you watched my live stream earlier. If you didn't, why not? You should go and watch it. Don't watch the VOD. Watch me whenever I'm live. Yeah, I don't really have a leg to stand on in that one. But, you know, I can criticise as much as I like because that's my job. The Killer Zombie could be going for a move on Briars. Briars cutting the corner almost. And just letting Killer Zombie through. Feeling bad about that, cutting the corner. And pulls off to the side. Lets the V-carb through and up into P number 5. MCH sliding as he tries to make his way past ARL and does actually quite well to avoid going into the back of him. Quite a few mistakes from these drivers tonight, and Luke Race is the only one really who hasn't made a single mistake as far as I'm aware. ARL, I'm not sure whether he has. But oh yeah, he did at the virtual safety car restart. So everybody in this grid has made a mistake at some point. And that's a late lunge from Bramble trying to get past MCH. However, he sends MCH wide as the Mercedes tries to get the gap. And Bramble just heads back through and is up into P3, but it wasn't necessarily as clean as he would have liked. Of course, he's unable to follow what the regular racing line would have been because he's not running line tonight. It's a test evening for Bramble, and at the moment, I mean, he's quick, but he's not necessarily clean, and that slide that he had to drop him down behind Luke Racer as they were fighting so hard in the early stint of this race demonstrates exactly that. Lap 8 then of 33. And we are a quarter of the way through this one. And Loot Racer is 3.3 seconds ahead of ARL. However, ARL is trying to close him in because now the softs, apologies for that, won't be as fast. And ARL is going to try and reel him in with the faster tyre. Terry Tibbs 34 seconds off on a set of the hards. I believe he's going to be the only driver who runs those hards tonight, as he did come in very, very, very early. But yeah, it was very, very early for Terry Tibbs to come into the pits, and 34.160 seconds off in P7 is not exactly where he would have wanted to be. We've got ARL now 2 tenths closer on that previous lap than he was to Loot Racer. And can he make this one count? He's broken DRS to Bramble, who's doing it pretty well. At the moment, 1.1 seconds behind. To be fair, considering that he doesn't run line normally, he's doing a pretty decent job, and he's 9 tenths back from ARL now. That pole lap that he set demonstrates the pace that he does have, and so we know that he can be up there, but not quite yet making his way into that DRS. Well, he's made it into the DRS range now, but he's not quite yet made it into the slipstream of ARL, who started this race in chat by coming in and saying, "Don't think I can get Bramble, he's too fast." He currently sits 6 tenths ahead of Bramble, so he was wrong. I've been muted that whole time, haven't I? Anyway, we pretend that didn't happen. Loot Racer is 1.5 seconds back, or 1.5 seconds ahead of Bramble now. As well, ARL was the driver with the ARL was the quicker driver, and now that he's come into the pits, it's free reign for him and for Bramble to push as hard as they can to try and catch up to Loot Racer, or for ARL in his case, it is to undercut and try to get ahead, as he has an opportunity to do so, but undercutting the soft runner on the hard is a very, very interesting, on the medium, sorry, onto the hard is a very, very interesting call. And into the pits comes Loot Racer, as he knows now is probably the time for him to come in. Bramble takes the lead of the race, and MCH heads through too. Down the inside, potentially looks MCH into turn number 1, but doesn't make that move. And he could be looking very, very racy on the back of Bramble, possibly costing the Aston Martin time, as Loot Racer is going to come out of the pits. Where's he going to come out in relation to ARL, as that's the telemetry on screen. I don't want to give anybody an advantage. Not that they'd be watching, but maybe David Norris is engineering somebody. Loot Racer comes out ahead of ARL, but only 1.2 seconds ahead. It's not much of a margin between the two. And now ARL has actually made it back into that DRS with the fact that he has the more warm set of tyres. They are more ready to attack, and he's doing just that at the moment to try and stay in the DRS of ARL. And they're just going to continue on the third of the way through this race now. And this is the battle for the lead. Bramble and MCH are in the battle for the provisional lead, but I'd imagine they're going to dive into the pits within the next couple of laps to switch off those tyres. They're both going to continue on for another one, though, and they'll move on to 11 laps on those mediums. Whether they switch to a soft stint at the end, that's a potential move, but with Loot Racer and ARL, the way they are at the moment, it would be very, very risky. ARL could make this move on Loot Racer with the DRS down the main straight, as Loot Racer, I'd imagine, has those tyres up to temperature and ready to attack. they head out of the final corner. DRS is available to ARL, and he's got it open now as they pull to the very right-hand side of the circuit. ARL pulls across to the right as well. So does Loot Racer. So ARL dives down the inside, and he makes that move before even the DRS is shut, and before even they make it to the corner. But ARL is up now into P5, and he has the chance to attack and potentially win this race on track. That would be a great story from the man that slagged off his own performances before this race, and he could potentially make it even better as, well, they're on lap number 12 now of 33, and ARL has an opportunity to break away. He's 1.9 seconds behind Briars. And this could have potential implications for a championship fight. I mean, I know Bramble is, well, almost perfect in his score this season. As MCH dives into the pits, he was not close enough to Bramble to make it viable anymore. But the man in P1 at the moment is in P1 in the standings with 51 points. However, as Killer Zombie dives into the pits as well, and Briars is free to be attacked by ARL and Loot Racer with no protection of his own after this DRS straight. But Brambles is on 51 points as MCH comes out behind Loot Racer and ARL, and I think he's just about outside of that DRS. And, well, now that he's got to warm those tyres up, he might find it a little bit more difficult to get back in than Loot Racer and ARL had it. However, if they do start to fight, as they are now with ARL around the outside of Briars, could be making that move. If they do start to fight, then it's a back into the battle for MCH as he goes round, goes Briars, and into the side of Loot Racer. And just an unfortunate incident there sees Loot Racer, well, he's gotten away with it without much damage, to be fair, but Briars is out of the race after a mistake, potentially contact with the driver trying to go around the outside, and the contact and the domino effect has lost Loot Racer his side end plate, and it means that it is our first real safety car of this race. Unfortunate stuff there for Briars, who finds himself out of this Grand Prix on lap number 13. I'm just watching a replay here just to see what happens. ARL went around the outside, and did he sweep in? Was there contact made? I'm not sure. The angle that we got wouldn't suggest so, as Bramble gets a perfect opportunity to come into the pits. Loot Racer comes in as well. He'll probably come out ahead of Killer Zombie. It looks as though potentially there was contact between ARL and Briars, and then Briars spins round and gets collected essentially by Loot Racer. It's going to stewards. Okay. Was there contact though, as Terry Tibbs gets another drive-through penalty for speeding under a safety car? Someone should tell him to slow down at some point. Was there contact? Or was it just that he was trying to hold it around the outside when he potentially shouldn't? Ah, there was contact. Okay. Sorry, I was taking a big slurp. My voice is very lost today. I'm not sure why. Try and find it. I mean, I understand why he tried to attempt it there. But I also understand the frustration, if you get what I mean. From the angle I got, it was no further action. But that's because I didn't see any contact in the first place. So that's my verdict on it. It all happened so fast. I didn't even see it. So, yeah, my bad. But, yeah, I mean, it's not really my place to comment. It will go to the stewards, and they can cast their aspersions on it. Not sure who the stewards are, actually, in DCD. I've never seen a stewards report in my life in DCD. Normally, it's just people trying to remove their penalties. So, Who have we got? We've got 4 people, to be fair, online on Discord who could have joined. One playing Atom Full and one playing F1 Manager. They could have joined. Who are the stewards? Let's see. Can we all see the stewards? Yeah. Hello, Phoenix. Not too much. Davey Norris his wheel didn't work. Chuck Norris retired in the pits for some reason. And Briers had an incident. I mean, you missed that. You missed Briers having an incident with ARL, where ARL tried to send it around the outside. Little bit of contact, span around Briers, and then drove him, or Luke Racer drove into him. As what's happened to MCH there? He's missing half a front wing. Big lag spike on the stream. But MCH has lost half of his front wing. ARL, focus on the race, please. Safety car's in this lap, and that is a terrible time for MCH. Terrible, terrible time for MCH. Right, okay. Well, the safety car's in this lap anyway. And MCH comes into the pits. Bramble will take us away for green flag racing as we head across the halfway mark of this race, or almost up to the halfway mark now of this race. Lap 16 of 33, and ARL looks to the inside line, potentially turn number 1. Doesn't make the move, but Luke Racer does make it on Killer Zombie and gets through into P3. And now tries to launch an assault on ARL and Bramble ahead as they head through now. It's the end of sector number 1 and heading towards sector number 2. Can Luke Racer get through? He's got the grip. He's got the outside line on ARL. Can he make that move stick? And ARL just backing out of it. Yes, he does go through. And right, he's very much up into P2 and very much up into the race. Bramble is now 1.4 seconds ahead. And so he is now going to try and break free in this session as they continue on now. But Terry Tibbs now within that DRS, he will have to pit at the end of this lap or the next couple of laps, I believe, for the drive-through penalty. So there's a lot of communicating with online services. I'm not sure what's happening going on, but oh, hello. Are you from my stream? Are you the one? Are you the Dan that did 1 million likes on my stream and then it didn't work? Because that would make sense. That would make sense. But yeah, anyway, MTX 24.8 seconds off. I'll look back in now rather than just reading chat. No. Oh, there's a different Dan. Different Dan. Okay. I don't know. There was a Dan who came into my, as Terry Tibbs runs very wide. He's gonna have to serve that drive-through penalty soon. There was a Dan that came into my stream earlier. Briers was there and spammed 1 million likes. It didn't work, so he DM'd me and then he followed me on Instagram. I thought potentially that might be you. And then because I also got a subscriber later on YouTube, I figured that might be him, and it might be you, but maybe not. Are you subscribed, by the way? You should be. Fastest lap goes to Bramble, as I think the whole field is now waiting for the Aston Martin to make a mistake. He got very lucky to be right up there, as Terry Tibbs is now disqualified for ignoring his drive-through penalty. And Bramble picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. If Luke Racer can stay within range, he's got an opportunity here to take that race victory, but he's 2.0 seconds off, 2.1 now. So the Mercedes is struggling to try and stay within range, but he's going to do his very best as MCH sets the fastest lap of the race, showing that those mediums are the best tyre to be on. But yeah, there was a Dan who came in to my stream earlier and spammed 1 million likes, and Briers was there too. And I was streaming exactly the same thing as Chappers, so I presume that you just moved on to his stuff. It's the right Chappers I'm thinking of, right? The TikTok guy. The controller player. But I'm better, you know, I'm the better streamer. Because I'm cool. I'm cool like that. Bramble now 2.4 seconds ahead of Loop Racer. And, well, that gap is just increasing now. And I think everybody, including myself, is just waiting for Bramble to make a mistake and drop down the field. As DRS has been broken for all of these drivers. ARL, the closest one, 1.8 seconds off of Loop Racer in P3. But unlikely to make inroads back into it because of the fact that those tyres are worn. Killer Zombie and Bramble might have an opportunity. MCH as well might have an opportunity to be quicker than Loop Racer. I don't think those hards are going to be quicker than those mediums at any point. Potentially, maybe right towards the end of the stint, but I'm not sure. Terry Tips finally does leave this race. And well, he will be classified in 9th and last. He won't be classified, but he will be put in 9th and last. I haven't watched much Chappers, to be fair. That sort of content, and I know I'm being hypocritical because I make that same sort of thing, is just like, I don't understand why people watch it. Does that make sense? Like, I don't understand why people watch my live streams. It's just the same stuff. It's just random career modes. Like, each to their own and all that. But, I don't know. Seems a bit odd. Maybe it's like, I don't know. I like Mike Stachio, so I'm hypocritical as well. I'm hypocritical because I'm just a hypocrite in this situation. But yeah, each to their own. That's why I don't get why I haven't got 1 million subscribers by now, because I'm really cool, you know. And DCD gets streamed on my account, so naturally I should have 1 million subscribers, but it is what it is. At 20 of 33. And I'm feeling the effects of no overtakes being made for the rest of this race. I'm predicting it now. I was thinking actually about streaming this race on TikTok. I just thought that might be funny. But yeah. I don't think it would be... Because on TikTok you've got to be very snappy. I don't think this would have the same effect. Of course, there's only 5 drivers left now. And they're not within the DRS. So it would just be me talking to chat. And if there is no chat, then it's just a boring stream. And it's just using up my bandwidth for no reason. Yeah, that's fair enough. I like them. I just don't... I can't watch them for more than 5 seconds. I get bored. Luke Race has now dropped out of 3 seconds behind Bramble. Unless there's mistakes made by the Aston Martin. That is game, set and match for this race. In terms of the race victory, to be fair, Mike Stachio came to my stream the other day. So that might be another potential reason why I like him. I've got more hot takes about F1 TikTok anyway that I won't share. But maybe at some point I will. Who knows? If I'm feeling opinionated and fiery. I don't like putting that opinion out there because I don't like putting people down. Then I just sort of like got lost in my own thoughts and then went, oh, wait, I said that. Oops. But yeah, each to their own. That's just my own opinion. It'll be lap 22 in a couple of corners' time. There's 11 laps to go in this race. We'll be 2/3, 66% through Bramble, extending his championship lead to what will... Well, he'll get 76, potentially 77. With that fastest lap right there, 77 points on the board after 3 races, which is a huge margin ahead of the rest of the field. P2 will be ARL, I believe. He'll hold on to it with just the 15. He'll move on to 51, so he will be 26 points ahead. I shouldn't really say my opinions on stream, at least, because I don't know how to word them, and then I always end up sounding mean. Fastest lap goes back to MCH, who will get at least 10 points out of this race if he if he does end up finishing, at least. I'm hoping that now everybody will finish. Fingers crossed. I don't see any reason why anybody would retire in the pits, even if you're like MCH, who's back in Sector 2 when these guys are about to start the next lap. I wouldn't retire. 10 points taken home, not just for your drivers, but for the constructors as well. And it's looking like Mercedes and Racing Bulls would both take home a huge chunk of points and try to cut into Aston Martin lead at the top of the championship. It's 65. If we go off the fact that MCH is going to take the fastest lap of this race, then it'll be Aston Martin will be on 90. 90? 90, yeah. Racing Bulls will take third and fourth, which will be 15 and 12, so up to 27. 69, nice. And they'll be 11 points off, whereas now they're 23. Mercedes, 19, 29. Will they get more or less? They get 2 more. So Mercedes will only be 9 points off Aston Martin. So it's all going to be very close at the top. Will be lap 24, and Bramble is the only driver with a penalty, and the only driver looking like he's going to end up winning this race. He takes that fastest lap back, and will extend that lead in the constructors to, what was it, 11 points and 13. Luke Racer hasn't really had the pace you'd expect from those mediums, and he's really fallen off now, and I think he's going to fall into clutches of ARL within the next few laps. So that gamble didn't quite work. Just over 2 seconds now behind Luke Racer, when he could close in, but Bramble. Tell you what, you know what Italian commentators do? They like to do a lap of just silence and you just listen to the car. So I might just do that right now. So enjoy the pure engine sounds of the Aston Martin. And across the line, Bramble comes. That was so much harder than I thought it was going to be, because I wanted to test it, because they always do it in like enduro stuff. And when I've talked to, because I work occasionally with the guy who does Sky F1 Italy for, I just said Sky F1 Italy, Sky Italy for F1. And he says he does that quite a lot, like in qualifying and stuff, and when the race goes a bit dull. I don't know how he does it. I can't not talk. Like, I am a yapper at heart. And I will never stop being a yapper at heart. But, yeah. Give me suggestions, by the way, on a new intro music, because the intro music isn't great, because it does get copyrighted, and I need a new one. But everybody likes the old one, so I want to see what you guys think. I want to see what new one I should get, because at the moment this one's not. It's not hitting the same simply because of the fact that it gets copyrighted, and then I open up the stream afterwards and I'm like, oh. And it also doesn't push it out, so more people can't discover this. You know what I mean? Ramble fast as that was the game. He's back up into, well, he's back up and opening up that gap again as Loop Racer is now falling into the clutches potentially of ARL as well. Bramble's had a lot of screen time. We'll show these two. Kevin De Bruyne is leaving Man City. What? That's mad. Okay. I'm not a big like football guy, but that's crazy. Like I know quite a bit. I wouldn't call myself a football guy, but I know quite a bit about football. And Kevin De Bruyne leaving, it just feels like it. And 10 years. It does not feel like 10 years since Kevin De Bruyne joined Man City. It does not feel like 10 years at all. So that's kind of crazy. Because when was that? 2015. Oh, I'm old. I'm saying that I would have been like, what, year 4, year 5? I would have been, because he would have joined summer, I believe. Aero's almost back into the DRS, so we've almost got on-track action to talk about. He will get the DRS in the next detection zone. So now I've got to do this maths super quick. So I would have been 9. Okay. This was, I joined secondary school in 2017, so 2016 I would have been 10. Year 5. It was like the summer of year 5 to year 6. And now he's leaving. That's wild. Just remember the days of Martin De Michaelis. What a time. What a time to be alive. Remember the days of Middlesbrough in the Premier League. That was a time to be alive. ARL not quite making the inroads on Luke Racer that he would have wanted to do. 5 laps left to go. I've talked about football on an F1 live stream. And you know what I haven't talked about? The Japanese Grand Prix. If you're watching, and you can still type, for example, the likes of Phoenix or Briars, if you're still here, you can put your race predictions in the chat for the Japanese Grand Prix, because I'm interested. I'm super interested because I feel like I've got different opinions to everyone else. I think Charles Leclerc's going to win. I'm not going to lie. But let me know what you think, because I don't believe that's a very popular opinion. At least from what I hear. Aero's now 5 tenths behind. So the opportunity is here, as their tyres are wearing down and down and down. They will try and he will try and make that swap and move up into P2. Luke Race has done well to hold on to these mediums for so long. He's done 15 laps on them. He will make it up to 19 by the end, while ARL has them on 23. And it's what I was saying earlier about the fact that the hards will last longer than the mediums, yes. But they won't necessarily be performing very well, and they will both be sliding their way in this fight as we head on to lap 30 or 33. We've got 4 laps to go in this Grand Prix. And ARL closing in on the back of Luke Racer now with that DRS. Can he make this move stick, or is he just going to sit in behind for the time being? Luke Racer defends the inside, it forces ARL to go the long way around, and of course he's going to take the long way around. Can he hold it as it becomes the inside line? Not quite, and he succeeds the position to Luke Racer. I think he's fearing a post-race penalty from what happened with Briars. So he's not going to fight this one too hard, but especially Not around this corner, after what Briar said. But yeah, ARL just sitting in behind. Could be making a move, not quite. Shaping them up, trying to force a mistake from Luke Racer at the moment, which is the only way that he's going to try to get past now, because then he wants the gap to be rather big. And, well, if there's a mistake made, then it will easily be opened up very, very big now. Not opting for the DRS is ARL on that previous lap. So that's an interesting choice that he's decided to make. Bramble, fastest lap of the race once again. ARL sends it to the inside of Luke Racer. The Mercedes runs wide and through goes the RB and gets the position sorted. But there will be DRS down the main straight for the Mercedes, who will now open it up and try to close right back in. Can he make this move right back up to P2 and just make the ARL shenanigans pointless? He does indeed. So now he doesn't what? Doesn't make that move. Yeah. I think that's what you mean. Yeah. Agreed. He is, though, going to try it on the inside this time into this corner. Could be Briar's, but not quite what's happened. And, well, they're still side by side. This is some good racecraft, considering the age of the tyres that these two are on. And who can hold on to this one? ARL's going to back out of it on Luke Racer. They don't want to cost this. They don't want to cost this session at all towards the end of this race. Same scenario, yeah. Well, he was on the inside this time. He's now going around the outside, and he could be sending it all the way around the outside and making his way up into P2. But braking late, and this battle will continue on to the penultimate lap now of this Grand Prix. But he will get DRS once again. And DRS is open once again for the V-Carb as he tries to close in. Tries to fight his way forward. He will now be pulling to the inside line. Luke Racer defends the inside. ARL's going to go even more to the inside. And that's probably a very, well, I say probably, that is a pretty solid move up into P2. And he's solidified it. Bramble can probably have a cup of coffee and still win the race. Well, a cup of coffee would make him go faster, no? It will jazz him up. He's probably not, he's not falling asleep as ARL gets a purple first sector. But he will be cruising to the end and winning the race with no line as well. So fair play to him. He's done pretty well to hold on to it with no line. I certainly couldn't do the same thing. And the Aston Martin looks to be heading on to win this race. Luke Racer in P3. Could be closing in on P2 on ARL. It's going to be DRS down this. What is the second DRS straight on this circuit? But it's arguably too short. Sangria, then, well, yeah. I like that one more. I like that answer more. But I'm not sure how old Bramble is, so I'll reserve my opinion on that. Around the final corner for the final or the penultimate time now for ARL and Luke Racer, and across the line. Next time they do that, it will be taking the checkered flag for P2 or P3. Luke Racer pulls to the inside, gets through on ARL, and he's up into second place. Still trying to defend with those medium tyres, those old medium tyres. They race in Spain, they do. They do. I'm sure that it would be Sangria that they'd be given on the podium. ARL around the outside. Can he make this stick as Bramble gets another 3 seconds? That does not matter at all in the grand scheme of things. And he's now going to send it to the inside. Is the V-Carb? No. He's going to try and wait for the DRS straight. And that will be where he tries to make his move up into P number 2. This battle has waged on for so long now. And Luke Racer in P2 is going to try and hold on. There's one more DRS straight. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 corners to go in this one. And ARL diving late to the inside, trying to force a mistake out of Luke Racer. He can't quite do it. Bramble crosses the line to take victory here in Spain after a dominant performance. But his friends on the podium are yet to be decided, or it is at least yet to be decided what order they are in. Luke Racer will head around the final corner now, and he's going to head around the final corner ahead of ARL. It's going to be a drag race to the line, but it's one that Luke Racer wins, and it's Bramble P1, Luke Racer P2, and ARL holding on to P3, not quite close enough to make that move. MCH done very well to continue on. He's going to finish in P4, and Killer Zombie dropping all the way to the back of the field, but he will take P5. And it's a good result for RB. It's a good result for Mercedes, and it's a good result for Bramble. So every one of those finishers will be very, very happy with that end result. But maybe not the process. As well, to be fair, it was pretty incident-free from them. Driver of the day, Killer Zombie, who finished last on track. Okay, if you like. No, personally, but if you like. And yes, that is the end of another round of this season. Round number 3 ends with exactly the same situation. Bramble taking victory in dominant fashion, extending that lead at the top of the standings. And then ARL has been knocked off P2 for the first time this season. He's in P3. Luke Racer swapping P3 for P2. So he will close down now on ARL in the standings, but not Bramble, who extends his advantage. Then MCH in P4. So it's the top 4 in the standings that ended up finishing, actually. And then Killer Zombie, who's P10 in the standings, ended up finishing as well. But well done to those of you who continued to go. And well, that is the end of that. That's another round of your DCD season wrapped up. Half the field finished. And well, there's a couple of controversial incidents that may well be decided in the stewards' room. But until next time, it's goodbye.